Hello everybody and welcome to FM Scout. I'm Mischievous Rogue and welcome back to Experiment Saturdays. This episode we're going to look at what if all English clubs only used homegrown players. Before we jump into the episode, I'd like to point in the direction of my channel, Mischievous Rogue, where I've got experiments, let's plays, guides, etc. If you want to check that out after this, that'd be great. Let's jump straight into the episode. So let's go through the rules of the episode then. All foreign players were removed from every team in the Vanarama National League South all the way up to the Premiership. There was a few exceptions. If you had dual nationality or you were born in England, then you got to stay in those teams. For instance, Jordan Rhodes was born in England but plays for Scotland, he was allowed to stay. And there's a numerous amount of players in there with dual nationality that may have chose to play for the second national team rather than England. So all those players will be cutting about within the divisions, and it'll be interesting to see some players that we think of as English that may not have had a good game for England, but they've chosen a second nationality. But all we're going to do now is going to look up the leagues to see what teams are in each division, then deep dive into the Premiership teams and see the squads. So it's 2021, we're 5 years into the project. This series, or this episode, will be broken down into two parts. First 5 years as we're on now, 2021, to see if the England players have sort of adapted to the system with no foreigners. Then another 5 years to see if they've made a difference within the England setup, etc. And if people want it, a part 3 pushing on a further 10 years to the end of the transfer ban to see if England can finally dominate in the world and European stage. But we start off with the Vanarama National League South, and instantly I'm looking at one of my favourite teams to go in this game. Probably the hardest challenge team to play is Hungerford Town, still there. Truly a hard team to go. Woking as well are a hard team. Wealdstone Raider, big fan of him, legend. Dulwich Hamlet, who've done really well in the last episode. When the transfer ban, they managed to move out of the divisions, but the division almost looks the same. You can see that Salisbury won it and they moved up to the National League. The Vanarama National League North then, won by Stalybridge Celtic last season. Billericay Town, they'd done really well in the last experiment. FC United of Manchester are in there. Stourbridge still in the division. Hemel Hempstead, Harrogate as well, another good team to go. And Geesley, Braintree, Bradford Park Avenue have moved up. Vanarama National League, Aldershot. My main man, Curty FM, who's on the channel, who's on FM Scout, he supports Aldershot. They're still cutting about in the Vanarama National League, not doing much. Curzon Ashton have moved up slightly. Field, Grimsby Town, Salford. A lot of people ask about Salford, but they are in there as well. Salisbury, who obviously won the league last time. Stockport County, York City, a few good teams to go. Skybet League 2, let's see if there's any big hitters in the division this year. I do like Gonack and Stanley, they're quite good. Obviously Hereford won the league last season, which is fantastic. Any big hitters? Plymouth Argyle are in there. Oldham, Tranmere. I know you may not class them as big hitters, but names I know. Burton Albion still there. Blackpool, Wimbledon. League 1, Blackburn Rovers. Wow, they've came down a bit now. Blackburn Rovers. Charlton are in there. Coventry, Millwall, Portsmouth, Preston, Southend, Swansea, they've had a fall from grace as well. Watford and Walsall, so that's a shock there. You can see that Swansea probably suffered because I took all the Welsh players out as well and only had them with English players. That went the same for all the Welsh teams. I'm sure they've recovered now though. The Championship, so here we go, let's see if there's any surprises up here. Rotherham are in the Championship. Oxford are in the Championship. MK Dons, fantastic. Everton down in the Championship, that's a shock. Leeds still there. I wonder if they're ever going to get promoted. Sunderland, West Brom, Brentford are up there. Bolton, Barnsley, Birmingham City, Bury. Good to see them up there. Cardiff. I wonder who's in the Premiership then. So here we go. The normal teams. We've got Arsenal, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Bristol City up there. Burnley, Chelsea, Hull, Leicester, Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, Middlesbrough, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest return. Reading, Sheffield Wednesday. Good to see them back. Southampton, Tottenham, West Ham and Wolverhampton Wanderers. So that's it. After 5 years, that's the way the teams sit. What we're going to do now is we're going to dive into the Premiership teams, check out the players they've got, how the squads have evolved, and see if anyone has chosen a second nationality. So let's go through the Premiership squads and see who has stayed where and who's released who. So Arsenal, they're still managed by Arsene Wenger, but they've got a few players that we recognise. Gibbs, Chambers, Wilshere, Walcott, Reece Nelson, Welbeck are still there. Adam Thompson, fantastic prospect from their youth team, worth 37.5 million, getting 250 grand a week, 20-year-old, and he's already got a cap for England. So Arsenal's youth system is obviously working. You can see two players of different nationalities there. Aston Villa, Ryan Giggs manages them now. Still got Lansbury, Gardner, Grealish, Scott Hogan, obviously born in England but plays for Ireland. Bournemouth, they're managed by Rafa Benitez. Lewis Cook is obviously their best player. Callum Wilson's doing really well as well. Bristol City, they're managed by Gary Monk. They've got the token Scotsman in there. He's also the most valuable player, 10.25 million. Burnley, they're managed by Eddie Howe. They've still got a few familiar players. Andre Gray's still there. Agaye is the most valuable player, 11 million. Chelsea, so I was most interested in Chelsea because of all the youngsters that they had, and they've got quite a good youth system. You can see that a few players have chosen a second nationality, but one of my favourite players in the game is obviously Tammy Abraham, and he's obviously born in London but now plays for Nigeria, so he develops quite well in the game, and their biggest valued player is Tammy Abraham. Then it's David Kabiru, Chaloba. So Kabiru as well is a product of the youth system, 1 English cap, 30 million, 100k a week. So the youth system is working because of the teams have got a transfer ban and they're only using the sort of homegrown players. And Philip Koku is the Chelsea manager. Hull City, top rated player is Harry Maguire, 23 million. They're managed by Marco Silva. Leicester City, 12 million. Demarai Gray, Danny Drinkwater, they're two sort of top rated players. Cesar Prandelli is the manager. Liverpool, so Liverpool done really well in this game. Ejaria, 36 million. Good players, got 11 caps, 1 goal, 250k a week, 36 million. So youth really getting a chance. Joe Gomez up there as well, 32 million. Klopp still the manager. Manchester City, top rated player or top value player, John Stones. Then it's Jadon Sancho. They're obviously managed by Makalele. Remember him? Legend. He actually managed Newcastle in this game and then went to Manchester City. So Manchester United, unhappy, but Big Rashford's up there, 30 million. Lingard's up there as well, and Callum Gribben are the top 3 rated players. They are managed by Paulo Fonseca. Rashford, if you let him thrive in this game, he's really, really good. So Middlesbrough, the top rated player is Ben Gibson, 17 million. Absolutely. Middlesbrough, I think, are one of those clubs that you can really, really do well with if you concentrate. And they're managed by Claude Puel. Newcastle, basically at the end of the 5th season, they got rid of their manager, Makalele. He left. They're now managed by United States guy David Wagner. Top rated player is Aarons, 29 million. Nottingham Forest, back in the big leagues, their top player is Tyler Walker, £13 million, managed by Roberto Martinez. Reading, Jake Cooper, 17.25 million. You can see a few players as well with a second nationality, and obviously if you pause the screen at any time you can concentrate on them. But Dede Prabova, Dutchman there, is obviously chosen to play for the Netherlands instead of England. But Reading are managed by Jaap Stam still. Sheffield Wednesday, I actually like Sheffield Wednesday, really, really good sort of challenge team. It's good to see them. There's Jordan Rhodes, I was mentioning him before, but he's up there still, plying his trade at Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday currently managed by Carlos Carvajal. Southampton, another great 5 years for them, we'll come on to that later on, 30 million, Nathan Redmond. But Southampton managed by Brendan Rodgers, of all people, so he left Celtic. Spurs, Harry Kane, 55 million. Dyer, 45 million. Dele Alli, 38 million. Onoma, 35 million. Tottenham, really, really good youth team. You can see they've got a couple of players that have chose a second nationality, but Pep Guardiola is the Tottenham boss now. West Ham, Reece Oxford, 14.5 million, and Peter Dayton up there, 13.5 million. West Ham, again, they've got a really, really good youth team, youth system, so brought up a lot of players. They're managed by Scotsman Robbie Nielsen, who used to manage Hearts. Wolves, Niall Ennis, 25 million. Not a bad player, not been capped for England yet, but he's got under 21 caps. And you've got Gibbs White as well, 20.5 million. They're managed by Carlo Cudicini, who's just retired. And then we're obviously back to the Premier League. So that's where the teams are at now. That's the squads. What we're going to do now is we're going to check out who won all the trophies from the Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, Europe, check all the positions. Then we're going to finish off at England, and that'll be the end of this episode. Let's start with the Community Shield then. You can see that Manchester United won it in 2016-17, but then it was a dominating Liverpool 3 years in a row, and then Arsenal, obviously runners-up with Tottenham twice, Bournemouth, Burnley, Leicester. The EFL Cup had a strong performance again from Liverpool, Burnley, Liverpool, Aston Villa and Tottenham. Runners-up were Southampton, Man City, Southampton again, Manchester United and Peterborough, so a strong performance for Peterborough there. The FA Cup, Burnley won the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool beat Huddersfield in the final, Tottenham beat Middlesbrough, Arsenal beat Norwich, and then they retained it by beating Milton Keynes Dons. So a few surprises there in the trophies, and shows you that sort of English core teams coming through, and sometimes it plays a lot better than having loads of foreigners in your team. Let's look at the Premiership. Well, that's a shock to the system. Liverpool fans rejoice. 3 league titles in a row, followed by Tottenham, followed by Southampton. So that tells me that the overall squad power and the youth system is absolutely fantastic at Liverpool, Tottenham and Southampton. Very, very rare that I'm surprised on a Football Manager game, but Southampton winning the Premier League is absolutely fantastic. But runners-up as well, Liverpool, so they're strong 3 years and they were runners-up 1 year. Arsenal were runners-up, Southampton runners-up as well. Bournemouth were runners-up in the 17-18 season, and Southampton again. So there you go, that's a good indication of, if you want to go a challenge team, choose one of these teams here, because obviously get good youth systems. Third place teams are obviously Tottenham, Liverpool, Tottenham again, Burnley and Bournemouth, but really strong results there for the Premier League. I'm genuinely shocked that Southampton won it and are the current champions as of now in 2021. So what we can do now then is we're going to look at the European performances, see if any of the players won any sort of European awards, then we're going to concentrate on England. Well, we're coming to the European trophies now. You can see that English clubs didn't really make a mark in the Champions League. Liverpool coming closest in 2019-2020, losing the final to PSG. But Juve, Barca, Real Madrid, PSG and Monaco were the ultimate winners in the last 5 years. Europa League, no English involvement in the finals at all. It was Roma, Wolfsburg, Inter, Sporting and Leverkusen that won the Europa League. And if we go to the Super Cup, just to round off the European trophies, Real Madrid, Juve, Barca, Real Madrid and PSG, all the big money hitters there. So, did any English player win any form of European Golden Shoe or Best Player in Europe? Well, Harry Kane was the Golden Shoe winner 2 years in a row with 27-28 goals, absolutely fantastic. Moussa Dembele, now playing for Atletico Madrid, was second, and the Best Player in Europe was won by the typical players Messi, Neymar, but Paul Pogba up there playing for now Monaco. So that's the sort of European involvement. All we're going to move forward to now is see how England got on over the last 5 years. So the whole point of this experiment was we use English players, we use homegrown players, and hopefully that will boost up the national teams and they can potentially win a trophy again, the World Cup or the European Championship. This hasn't happened. England still sitting 28th in the rankings, and if you look at the world ranking history bar at the bottom, they've been steady along sort of 13th, 11th, 13th, dropped down under Southgate into 53rd, and then pushed up along to the 17th spot again, and have slowly dropped down since the new man Chris Wilder took over in the July 2020. Top players at the moment, Kane, Klein, Henderson, Ali, Dyer and Andre Wisdom. Major clubs, you notice that Manchester City's missing out there. Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, Southampton, Chelsea, Manchester United. That shows you that Manchester City, the youth team may be good, but it's not producing enough quality players to get enough players in the sort of England setup. So let's look at the national team and how it looks just now. You can see I've organised it by team. You can see that Welbeck, Reece Nelson, Wilshere and Chambers are in there from Arsenal, Lewis Cook, Bournemouth, Jordan Pickford, Celtic, Michael Keane, Independiente, Klein, Wisdom, Ings and Gomez, Liverpool. You got Lingard, Rashford and Twanzebe, Manchester United. Luke Shaw now playing for Real Madrid, Foster, Ward-Prowse, you get Butland, and then you've got Kane, Edwards, Ali, Walker, Peters and Dyer. Top capped player, Harry Kane, also got the most goals. Then you've got Danny Welbeck up there for goals as well. So England team looking really strong. And remember, this is only after 5 years. But interesting to see what it's like after 10 years. The youth movement is just starting. So let's look at the competition history. So the Euros, they qualified for 20 and they lost in the second round to Slovenia. The World Cup, they never qualified for 18 because they lost to France in the UEFA sort of playoff, and they're currently trying to qualify for 2022. So that's where England sit at the moment. The youth movement has not progressed as much as I thought it would. Join us in part 2, where we'll look at 5 years on from this. Hopefully everything has evolved. We'll look at all the awards from the Premier League to see who was the best player, best goal scorer for the last 10 years. It's going to be really, really good to see how they've developed, if they've developed. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like. Don't forget to jump over to my channel, have a wee look if you want. And also, don't forget to check out FM Scout, fantastic website for all your tactics, guides, face packs, videos, newsletters, you name it, it's on there. I really, really appreciate the support in the video, and we look forward to seeing you in part 2.